And I'll just go where I see hands. Eddie, or all of you, I wanted to ask what you think today about where Filipinos are in solidarity with farm workers today. So, for example, there's I don't know if people know, but there's an independent farm worker union of Oaxacan workers in Skagit County that's less than an hour away from Seattle that are in the middle of a boycott of raspberries, and they're berry workers in Skagit County. And so I was just wondering, where do you see the Filipino communities across the U.S. and their solidarity with farm workers today?
Well, I think, I don't see that many Filipinos who are involved with farm working anymore. I think the farm worker generation died out with the Manongs, and then the post-1965 generation sort of don't know this history at all. And I think that you do have some of the immigrants, Filipino immigrants, who do end up working in the fields, but it's a temporary thing for them until they figure out other pathways to work. But in terms of solidarity for unions, I think from what I've seen of people going to the different screenings, the United Domestic Workers Union is carefully nurturing their membership of Filipinos in it, and they do that with in collaboration with some of the other unions. I don't know if that's happening here.
Any other reactions, thoughts?
One of the things that we have in Central Washington is that we have a different history in Central Washington. And we were facing the same problems. So for example, when the Philippine Commonwealth was created in 1936, the Filipinos here didn't think of a big thing about it because they'd been coming to Yakima Valley since 1918. And most of those first Filipinos came to be students, but they could not fulfill that dream, and so they were farm workers. And the evolution of our Central Washington thing and many of the communities here in Western Washington was that and through the help, particularly in Central Washington, through the help of the Yakima Indian Nation, we became farmers. We became the tillers of the land. We could purchase and lease land, and there was also one other thing that happened in 1938. A man named Pio Decano here in Seattle, Washington, did a court case here in King County that defied the state, what they called the anti-alien land law. In Washington State at that time, no people who were considered aliens could purchase or lease land here in Washington State. Well, Pio Decano filed a suit to challenge that Washington State law, and he won. And so what happened there, that said that Filipino, as far as Filipinos, they did not come under the auspices of the anti-alien land law, because most of them, as Juana said, were American nationals. Ever since they started coming here in the early 1918s. And so in the Yakima Valley, we have farmers. We have farmers, and three of our biggest operators, I'll tell you, they hire Hispanic workers. Really funny, Filipinos in charge. And then we have Philippine farmers who have workers who are Hispanic. The newest phenomenon that's going to happen is because with the anti-immigrant, stuff that's happening in this country, we're actually thinking employers and even those Filipino farmers are thinking of importing Filipino workers. That may be the workforce of the future. There have been Vietnamese workers that have come to California and Washington State also. And so I will be, when that happens, I will be on the side of the workers that come in. Because, you know, they will need to have the protection of, you know, the National Labor Relations Act, you know. But those are going to be some of the issues that come up in the future. And our people who are in the United States now, those succeeding generations that have come since the 1960s, they need to learn this history. This needs to be learned in the United States. California elected their first state senator of Filipino descent. Was it in 2010? Oh, 2010? No, what year was he elected? Just last year? Yeah. Senator Bonta. And his first piece of legislation in the state assembly, his first victory was to appropriate a $90,000 appropriation so that Filipinos could be studied alongside and be included alongside Hispanics in the teaching of the labor movement, the farm labor movement in California. We need to get that same type of money to teach about the Alaska cannery workers and then the various Filipino communities here in Washington State. But that initial grant was $90,000 specifically for Filipino American labor history in farm labor. Yeah.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, I'll go here and then back and then over.